Alright, so I wanted to talk about some of the reporting, creating reports in WMS. And then we're going to spend some time, and I'll show you some workshops that you can work on. You'll spend some time doing those workshops. Actually, it might be best, so let's spend some time. I'll let you do a couple of workshops. Then we're going to talk after that about sediment contaminant and sediment transport in Geisha. And we'll talk about some other topics like HY8 and also doing reservoir routing in WMS, doing reservoirs, and HMS. So there are a lot of different reporting tools in WMS, and really WMS isn't designed to create really nice pictures, but you can create some pictures from WMS. It has these annotation tools, so if let me bring in one of the models I've created here into WMS. Uh-oh. So if I want to, what's that? I think it is, yeah. Looks like it's recording. That's why I wasn't sure whether it was, so I checked. So if I want to do a report, for example, let's read in this model that I just created. And maybe we'll read in the solution. So there are several different options for creating reports. One of the options is WMS has this toolbar down here that allows me to create text and lines and things like that. So, and I can change some display options. So if I wanted to do a report for this, I could just, up here at the top of WMS, I could draw in some text, call this Sinai model, whatever you want. You can change your font. And then I could add in some other text. Maybe I wanted to say that this was where my flood happens. I could add in some text for that. Draw in an arrow. You can draw arrows. And maybe I wanted to draw in, do some more text that says that this is my model boundary here. You could draw that in. And draw this arrow pointing to that. And then maybe I would want, so you can do different things. And I might want to make this text bigger. Let's make this just so it's bigger. Okay, then I can save this to different formats. I can copy this to the clipboard. I can also just just get a screen capture. So to get a screen capture, you can go hit the print screen button on your computer, print screen, and I guess on this computer it has a special tool that allows me to select the area. Then I can copy that and then paste it into some document. So let's say I wanted to do a Word document. You can go into Word. And paste it in there. So copy and paste. And then I can just get some data from my model. So maybe I wanted my hydrograph ordinates or something. I could get those, go to my hydrograph, and I can export this to different formats. To the clipboard. Then I'll paste that into my Word document. So there are different ways of getting data out of WMS. The other thing that you can do, I should say, with Geisha is if you're doing a Geisha model, you can get any output from Geisha. You can get the output at any point in your model and do a time series plot. So if I wanted like the output, the depth at a certain location in this model, I can go to the point where I want the location. So maybe at this point I want the depth. I can go to my solution, turn on this depth, and export that depth. Okay, and then paste that into wherever. And then you just edit this like any other Word document, obviously. So if you have an HMS model or a HEC1 model, you can have basin labels. And there's a tool, a basin label tool, that allows you to change where these basin labels are located. So I can move them off to the side of my watershed. So this is the basin labels tool. Move them off to the side of my watersheds. And like I showed you can do text, lines, arrows, rectangles, and ovals, so you can do your own legend if you want. We also have legends. So if I want to display a legend in WMS, I can do that. Go to the contour options and turn on this legend, display legend. And so these are the depths. And so there are several different display options. You can print from WMS. To get your data out of WMS, you can print, you can copy to clipboard, you can export your data to different formats, and also you can do a screen capture. So with Geisha models, for each of these data sets, so like the depth, and for each time step, if I right click on that data set, there's an option to export your data set to these different formats. You can export it to an ArcInfo ASCII grid format. and then you can read it into ArcInfo and view it there or edit it there or whatever. You can also, if I wanted to export this model boundary or export anything as a shape file, I can go to the map module and select File, Save As, and you can export things to, you can export this model boundary or whatever to a shape file. So let's try that. We'll export this, and there you can export the points, arcs, and polygons as point, arc, and polygon shape files, and read those into ArcGIS. And there are a lot of different formats. So if you want to export something, you can right-click on something, and there's usually an option to export whatever you right-click on to a certain format. Especially elevation data, map module data, so coverages in the map module, you can export those to shape files, and so there are a lot of different formats. You can also, I should say, you can also, if you're using AutoCAD, you can convert what you're looking at on the screen to a CAD file. And the way you do that is you go to the CAD menu, select Data to CAD, and then anything I see on the screen here will be converted to a CAD file. And then I can go File, Save As, and I can save this as either a DXF or DWG file. So save that to, you can read it into AutoCAD or MicroStation, any of the CAD programs.
There is a tips you say you can export as a grass file. Tips. Can I get a raster?
Yeah, so you can get the, you're wondering if you could export this as a raster file? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I could get the flood depths or whatever. Any of my Geisha solutions, I can just right-click on those and export.
Is a time step which is
yeah, it just exports the time step that's displayed. Now, if I wanted to export a different time step, I just select the time step that I want and export that time step. So there are a lot of different options. WMS uses the standard printing utilities. You can set up your print, what you want to print. WMS isn't really designed for printing, but you can print from WMS. We recommend that people just copy and paste into other documents like a Word document or something. You just print out the Word document rather than printing from WMS. There's a copy to clipboard command. You can save different file formats. We've already talked about that. You can export different files. You can do a screen capture. And so there are a lot of different options to save files. So what I want to do now is let's spend an hour, and you have several options, okay? If we look under the PDF folder, we have just covered lessons 20A, 20B, 20C, and there are a couple of workshops to go with those lessons. One is the NextRad Mod Clark. So this is for HMS Mod Clark method workshop. You could run through that. There's also a Geisha. So this is radar data in HMS. This other one, 20B, is radar using radar data in Geisha. So you'll learn how to use radar data with Geisha projects. You can do those. You can do any of the other workshops that you haven't been able to do. So some of the good ones are like this, setting up an HMS Mod Clark model. That's what this 19A is. 19B is converting an HMS to a Geisha project. You can work on that. Let's see. So that's pretty much all we've talked about. let's spend an hour, and you could also work on, if you want to work on your project, for everybody's going to have 5 minutes to display their project this afternoon, and you're welcome to start working on that. And what I'd recommend is maybe you could create a Word file, so you create a Word document that you could just show what you've done. So you know how to export data from WMS, right? You just use the print screen command. You can show us your model in a Word document, whatever. And I mean, just do something real. Don't worry about it. Just do something. Doesn't have to be fancy. It can just be an HMS model or a Geisha model or HEC-RAS, whatever you want to do, whatever we've learned in the course. And it doesn't have to be accurate. You're not going to design anything based on this. We're just trying to do a basic model. So you can start working on that. You can do one of these other workshops, and we're going to spend an hour, and we'll work on that stuff. And I'll be around to answer any questions that you have and help you with that. So at 11 o'clock, we're going to start up again, and we'll talk about Geisha sediment and contaminant transport at 11 o'clock. Okay? Any questions? Okay.